yourself.
Is this on? Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm Chantal. I'm working for the ANWB. It's a Dutch touring club in the Netherlands. We're famous for our road assistance. So if you're on the road and your car breaks down, our road assistant service will help you out. But we're also active in the travel and leisure industry. We're selling products, but we're also famous for our information. So our website is one of our most important channels. And email is also very important. I joined the email team 3 years ago as a content marketeer. And since June, I'm product owner of the email team. We're centralized since 2 years now. So before, our email activities were everywhere in our organization, including the data. And last summer, we had a huge project where we now finally have one email tool and one marketing database that we use. So now, basically, we're at the start of the good things, because it was really difficult for us to do personalization and marketing automation because it was so spread in our organization. And since June, I'm a product owner, so it's a challenge.
Nice, thank you. Chantal, my name is Hessel Boschma. I'm Hessel from No Hessel. I'm working at Vodafone Ziggo. It's a joint venture of a local branch, a local telco player from Holland with a local Vodafone player in Holland. So we started up a joint venture at 1 January 2017. So we're now 3 years in the ways. And I'm a digital marketeer at Vodafone Ziggo, and I'm responsible for some websites and also for some email operations. And I have some email experience for now at Ziggo, Vodafone Ziggo, for 11 years. Okay, Rick?
Yes, great. Thanks, guys. Yeah, it's my turn. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff which can go wrong, right? So I try to categorize that a little bit, and I want to start off with the content part of email campaigning. What can go wrong there? So also with working with agencies. So that's a nice example to give from my chair, of course, because I have an example where there was a text delivered to a agency, like there was with examples and placeholders of where the personalization should come. So it was for a company who delivers temporary personnel and resources. And it was like, hey name, I got a perfect match for job title for the company Door Handle Incorporated. So that was obviously a placeholder, but the agency just copy-pasted that in there, and they didn't check it out. So like a test before sending out. So that actually got sent out. Of course, it was a disaster. So yeah, what can we learn from that? That's like always check your colleague or your agency, because you might think of them as an expert, but sometimes they get it wrong as well. So another one is in dynamic content. Not every ESP was that advanced or is that advanced that if you set up your business rules in dynamic content and they're too strict, that some people, they like do not apply for any content. So an email could go be empty as a whole. So you have just like the header and the footer, and that actually got sent out as well. So please think about a fallback or like a basic type of content which applies to everyone, because sending out a blank email is not that good of a conversion driver. So, guys, you got any content experience with mistakes here, Chantal? Could you?
Yeah, well, related to using other parties to join when you're doing your email activities, we had a huge redesign of our website, and our email templates were really, well, boring, basically. So we wanted to have something that was related to the website's design. So we had a complete redesign. It looked very fantastic, and we checked everything in the acceptance environment, and it looked good. And we tested everything. Of course, there were some small details that we needed to change, and then we moved it to the production environment. And well, we thought it was fine. We created a new newsletter in that new template, and we were all very excited to send it out and to see how people would react on it. And we sent it out, and it was like 1.3 million emails. And only after sending out, we found out that the unsubscribe link had disappeared. Luckily, this was before the GDPR, but it was, of course, it was a disaster, and we got a lot of complaints about it. So, and what we found out when we dived into it was that the acceptance environment was different from the production environment. And we were working together with a third party, so they had to, well, set things straight. But it's also good, I also know it from our website. I worked as a content marketer for 5 years, and we saw the same, that the acceptance environment can be different from your production environment. So I think that's good to keep in mind if you're releasing something to a different environment.
Yeah, so double testing there. Yeah,
yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also familiar with the website development side, and especially when you have more than 2 environments, and you can have a development environment, testing, accepting, and production. That's very yeah, always tricky when you're transferring between these phases. Yeah.
And something can change over time within these environments. Yeah. So you have another example, Hessel, about toxic subject lines within content.
Yeah, we did once. I thought I was smart, and I would do some hyper personalization into the subject line. I put the street name and including the house number and etc. in the subject line. And then some customers were complaining, but because the subject of the mail was about email security, and I put all these items in the subject line, and these customers were not amused because deep in our system, not all our environments were secure. So they were not amused, and I was luckily there was no attorney or legal issue came up. So it was I had some sweaty nights.
Yeah. Yeah, great. Yeah, so I think a lot of people here they know the feeling, like you just hit the send button and you start feeling warm and cold and the sky becomes dark and something really went really bad. So I wanna see some hands about. I wanna know who experienced this. So who actually sent out a campaign themselves? Can you raise your hand? That's majority, yeah. So, and who really made a really good mistake? Don't be shy, don't be shy. Ah, everybody as well. Okay, yeah, so yeah, okay, we have the right crowd then. Nice.
You don't have to feel ashamed.
No.
Rick, can I comment on the when the light went out? So we have also some sendings, massive sendings, and then our people who were hosting our website thought we were attacked with DDoS attack, but it was ourselves with our email. So they that was also very awkward. They phoned us and said, "What's happening? Yeah, we are. Oh, are you emailing? Yes, we are emailing."
Nice. So you told me you also had a campaign where you didn't have the rights to the actual images you used. How about that, Hessel?
Yes, we had back in the days we had we were a young company, and then we used some visuals with no rights were bought, and we had some people who complained about it and received several thousand euros of us because they wanted to have the money for it, of course. Yeah,
yeah, great. I actually had the same experience. Yeah, okay, so you have another content example you want to expand on, or shall we move to the data and personalization one?
Okay.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, yeah, like data and personalization, a lot of stuff can go wrong doing like an import or synchronizing data, right? So, like Excel, that's great for messing up your data. If you want to sort like your list and you don't have the last column in your selection, yeah, then you have like a different name to a different email address, right? So separators, they're not always only between data. It's also sometimes in the value of your data. So then it actually gets your name just within the name. It gets separated, and the last part of the name gets in the next column. So you got the half name in your address, for example. Well, that screws up your total import. Well, yeah, text delimiters, deduplicating. That's I have a really great example with that. I was really busy, and a colleague went on holiday, so I was doing his work in the evenings. That was great. And then I was working for one of the biggest coffee brands in the Netherlands. And I had to do an import before sending out, and they already like agreed on the message and everything, so I could just do it because they went home because it was in the evening. So I was importing this data, and you need to select a value to deduplicate on. But I didn't select the email address, I selected the opt-in. So it's gonna take the first rule, it finds like the first person, and it's gonna look up everybody with opt-in is yes. So that's like everybody, right? So I overwritten the total database, and everybody was the same person in the database at that point. So that's a great example of do not try to overwork yourself and doing important stuff in the evening. So we needed to go to the actual data center, do a rollback. It didn't go out that message that day because we couldn't make it in time. We didn't have the right people to do the rollback. So yeah, that was, I think, my biggest mistake ever. Like at least with the biggest impact. So yeah, having data mistakes. Chantal, could you expand on that?
Yeah, we introduced a new travel program a few years ago, which is the membership program. So the travel offers you can only book if you're a member at the ANWB. And it's a loyalty component in it. So the longer you're a member of the ANWB, the more advantage you get. And it's more like free extras. So you could get a bottle of wine at your hotel or a dinner. I was responsible back then for a newsletter about travel. And we thought it was a fun idea to personalize those offers by telling you what advantage you would get based on your membership, the length of your membership. But the stakeholder wanted to see all those offers with those advantages to see if we put in the right the right advantages. And back then we had to add a selection to those offers, which would decide if it would be a blue offer, because we refer to it as the color of your membership card. So it would be a blue offer or a gold offer. We sent it to the stakeholder, he got some feedback, and well, we processed that. And then it was, well, what you said, we had to hurry, we had to do a lot of things, so we had to press the send button. And when we hit the send button, we realized that we forgot to add the conditions. So there were 2 offers in the email, and everyone received those 2 offers in 6 different variations. So, yeah.
The best one.
The funny part, though, was that it was the best converting newsletter. But we didn't do it again. So, and what we found out then is that our checklist before sending, we just made the first steps in personalization, and we just didn't add that thing to our checklist. So that's what we did afterwards. But I think it's a good one to, if you start to do new things in your email activities, to add it to your checklists and well, your documentation, so that everyone knows that you have to check that too. And well, we forgot, so the stakeholder was happy, but we weren't. And it was funny that our members are very loyal, and they were not even angry. They said, hey, is it possible that I received it 6 times? And even people made fun of it, like jokes, and they were not angry, thank God. But we felt very embarrassed and, well, sweaty afterwards.
I have the same experience with the dynamic email, and especially with the conditions. I've done several of these dynamic emails with dynamic content, and then sometimes I was busy with making up the database profiles last moment, last minute, and that's always a bad idea. So especially when you have big databases and the queries are taking too long, the loadings take too long, and then the stress level is coming up. And so you can get some mix-up from wrong database segments with wrong content, and then you have a serious problem.
Yeah, then you get a great sensation. Yeah, yeah, that's a good example. You also get an example with too big of files you try to import, which took you too long, right? Could you expand on that?
Yes, yeah, that was the same story. When you have a massive data. and you have to refresh the data, and you're not on time with it. You have not a fixed schedule or something like that, or you have a last-minute action. That's mostly impossible. And nowadays the systems are more faster, but back in the days you had some slow systems. So.
Yeah, it should be better by now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So on the automation part, Chantal, do you have an example for that?
Yeah, I have a recent one. What I just told you, we have a new marketing database and a new email platform. And finally, we were able to follow up online behavior. So we went down with our insurance department because they wanted to follow up people that fell out of the funnel. So we built a template and we built a dialogue and it all looked fine. And we were very happy because this was something that was on our backlog for, I think, 2 years. So we were very happy to send it out, and we saw that the trigger was sending an email. And well, we checked it the next day, and everything looked fine. And then, well, it was day-to-day business, and well, we were busy. And after 2 weeks, stakeholder was asking like, "Hey, what's that funnel email doing?" So we were checking it, and we checked the feedback, and it was very negative, and we were kind of surprised by that. And what we found out then, that was in the dialogue, you should have selected something, was saying, if someone leaves the funnel, you send one email, but the checkbox was not checked, and everyone received that email every day since the day we put it live. And it was really, well, it can't happen, it should have happened, but we only checked it after 2 weeks, but we should have found it out already like 2 days later, because then the feedback was already there, and we just didn't check it. So it's testing, but also monitor is that an English word? I don't think so. But check what's happening, and then that feedback showed us already after 2 days that something was wrong, and we only found it out 2 weeks later. So, well, it was also discussed earlier, day-to-day business, but also your strategy, and well, also check what's happening.
Yes, and I would like to comment on this because I think after we had the Excel mistakes, I think the automation is maybe the second most dangerous thing to do when you're not checking up upon your automated processes, because we have also experienced that several automated processes weren't active anymore, so they were still, and nobody noticed after weeks. And then same question like you, and then colleagues come up and how are you going with this campaign XYZ, and then nothing came up, and so we had to start up again these automated processes. It's very tricky.
So did you learn on the testing of automation with those examples? Like, did you improve your testing on that after this discovery?
Testing on the automation, you mean?
Yeah, before going live.
Yes, we always do testing manual, and then when it's running okay, then we're going to automate it.
And I think it's very important that you have your dashboarding straight, or at least that you get signals if something goes out, because we didn't have that before, and we had the same like you, that the stakeholders coming to us, what's the result of the campaign, and it was out for like months. So.
Yeah, exactly. So maintain those campaigns, watch them regularly, and a good dashboard could help with that. Yeah, absolutely. So when you're using a lot of data in like the personalization, do you guys do like a sample test or some live data tests to see if everything works right in all different variations of the data which is in the database?
Yeah, our database marketeers are running those tests, and well, we just had a new process for that it's easier and that you see all the variations possible. Because we're also sometimes personalize on the city you live in, and sometimes it was a really bad translation or without a capital or something like that. So now we have a new process that you can see easily all those variations.
Yeah, for us it's impossible. We have sometimes so much variations. It's like a zillion, so it's impossible to check up on all the variations. Who can do this here?
So somebody has a zillion test solution in here? Some software maybe? I don't know. Yeah, so, okay, good example, yeah. The next topic is testing and organizing your campaign, and also the impact on different channels and other departments, like what is the impact on the website or the call center or other service which might get involved there. So we have like examples where the wrong email went out, and of course they had like really big numbers on it, like over 1 million emails went out, and the call center got spammed insanely. So all people there were like exploding, and they bombarded the email department about why did you not test that in a smaller batch. So that's the learning in that. And the same example, also always try to name your list and your message, like with some code or anything, so you don't mix them up, because that's easily done. And if you like send out a newsletter every month and you do a copy-paste action or anything and you don't change the name right, then you're screwed, of course. I was working with for a health insurance company. They try to renew their insurance every year in the Netherlands, so they want to send out a big mailing, but they just optimized their wizard. So on the website you have to fill in all the stuff to get your calculation out. But it wasn't really optimized, because it was like a better user experience, but the server got a lot slower because of it. And when we send out a mail to another million of people, the total website got that much slower that it eventually got down as a whole. So the total campaign actually kind of, went into the shit because of that. So there also we have to, with follow-up campaigns, have to throttle that and make smaller batches just for the website to actually come good with the same amount of the emails. So Hessel, you have a good example on this subject for us?
No, not really.
I have one.
Yeah,
or two.
Okay.
Well, similar to your story, we celebrated our 135th birthday last summer. And to celebrate that, we introduced a lottery, and you could join the lottery with your membership number. So it was really low key. You had to fill in your membership number and your name, and it was fine. So we thought that we could join this celebration and inform our members that they could join the lottery. So we wanted to send out a general email which included the membership number already, so that it would be very easy to join that lottery. Because we already expected that it would get a heavy load on our website. We checked with our IT department if they would be, if they thought it would give problems. They said twice, no, it's completely fine, just do it. But we still had doubts, and it was 1.3 million emails that we were about to send out. So right before we sent the email, we were like, well, we're going to split it into half and see what happens. Well, luckily we did, because after 20 minutes after we sent the email out, the lottery was down. And not only the lottery was down, but also our major applications on our website were very slow. And it was Friday afternoon at 4. And we were a very big corporate company, so on Friday afternoon everyone is already celebrating his weekend. So we were really stressed out what to do, and it was also the busiest weekend on our website, because if our summer holiday starts in the Netherlands, a lot of people are traveling by car to France and Italy, and they're searching for information. So it was already a very busy weekend. Finally people had to come from home to fix all this, and we had to send an apology message to the people who wanted to join the lottery. But what we learned from it is that we asked the IT department, and in the end it appears that that person who confirmed that it was fine was not the person to confirm it was fine. So there's a new protocol for load testing on our website. But what we also learned, don't send anything out at Friday at 4. Yeah. And do not send anything out if it's going to be the most busiest weekend on the website. So from a marketing planning perspective, it was also not the best way to go. And it was funny because that email was sent to a brand new email marketer, and it was her first big email. So she was really stressing out, even though it was not her mistake. But she learned from that to stay calm, and that it will be fixed in the end. But it's still an example that's used in our company to show how it can go wrong. So a good screw up that we learned from.
Yeah, we also don't send out big emailings on Friday, on that same reason.
Otherwise, you're working in the weekend. Yes. So, Hessel, you got an example maybe for useless A/B tests and tests gone bad?
Yeah, that's more how do you call it, an agony from some marketeers come up with some silly A/B tests. I think this won't bring you anything. And why do you want to test it? And then we want to test it really okay. And then you go test, and it's nothing, and it's also not statistical, not relevant, and and then I'm totally how do you call it? Frustrated, and I think it's not the way to go. Not the way to go.
And do you guys like alert other departments like the call center or maybe the web team for big campaigns going out?
Yeah, we're having a meeting in a weekly base where we inform people if we're going to send out big emails. And well, our customer service center is a very important channel also. So we're also discussing with them the planning of at least the newsletters and our if we send up the one shots. So not for the automatic campaigns, but well for the rest.
Yeah, we have an overall calendar so everybody can check in.
Yeah, that's great. Right. So when something went wrong, you can send out a like sorry mail or a oops mail or well whatever you call it. Yeah, the example of a oops mail there are loads of oops mails which had the best conversion ever. So it's also a chance to make some money. So maybe you should screw up a message here and there to get some extra revenue. But it also, well, is another attention to your mistake. So maybe it's not the best idea to do it in every case. So you have good experience with oops mails, Hessel.
Not really. I'm not really familiar with oops mails. I just sent you one remark on that. Sometimes you can better not respond to a mailing gone bad. So sometimes you have to do nothing. That's sometimes the best option you have.
Yeah, you said to send them to opens and clicks only.
Yeah, that's a possibility. When you want to mitigate this to your customers, of course you can see which customers has opened the mail or clicked on the mail, and you can send them an oops mail, and then you don't have to send it to all your customers, and that will. In most of the cases, it will cost you the 50% of your base. So.
Yes. So Chantal, you gave me two examples of not saying sorry in a next email, but like in a separate email sending, following up the first email, but like in your next newsletter or your landing page.
Yeah, with the lottery, we posted something on the landing page asking people to come back later because we had technical issues. But we had an example also of sending an old newsletter by accident, and in the next one we added an apology message. But we also check what we do if we make a mistake or we have a screw up. That we check if we see really bad negative comments in the feedback, for example, or reply mail inbox, and if that's okay, most of the time we just leave it. But we didn't have major screw-ups the last 2 years where we felt that it was necessary to send an apology.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, the lottery, but that was on the landing page.
All right. So I've got a nice little screw-up in the oops mail. Like that's double the fun. So I was working at an agency then as well, and. Like we sent it out the full service email for them, and there was something was wrong. But my colleague felt so bad that he created a new email from the name of the agency and himself, saying sorry to the total database of the customer. So, but yeah, of course, all those customers didn't know about that agency or this guy. So it was a terrible disaster. We had to. Work really hard to keep that client, and yeah, we succeeded actually. So that was great. But Oh my God. So this is the part, maybe we can throw it up to you guys. You have any mistake you want to share, or you have a question for one of these guys here? I see some...
Radu.
Thank you guys for being so brave.
Hi again, I'm Radu from Travian Games. So no one here had a mistake using the word test in subject lines and sending it out?
Yeah.
Can we get some hands for test in subject line, please?
We all right. We got the
You're
best,
not alone out there.
We got the best open rate for that.
Yeah.
Best conversion, and we plan to do it again.
Great.
Well, it was funny. Do you know the Efteling in the Netherlands? It's like something like Disney World. And they sent out last week a newsletter, and their subject line was Newsletter February. So I posted it on LinkedIn saying, oh, they forgot their subject line. Their email marketer responded, this was the best converting one. Sorry, but it was completely empty. Also, the pre-header was empty. And when I looked at my inbox, I was like, yeah, I understand why this is this one stands out, because it was like empty and white. So I thought it was a mistake, but they tested it and it worked well for them. So I want to test that one too.
So my name is Gonçalo. I work at Galp. Yeah, I also did a mistake. I sent. So you have you can put a code like F name, which means first name, but I didn't put the brackets right. So it just sent out F name, something about the app, and we actually had the best conversion to app, like in any other. It was the best email. So I don't know why.
Nice.
Anyone else?
Stineke got some great stuff, I'm sure.
No examples. I'm Stineke, working for Nuon. It's an energy company. Now, just a question. You were talking about testing and double testing, maybe double testing. Just a question. Who is involved and who is responsible for the final go for sending out the campaign?
Yeah, good question. In my opinion, you need a single person to sign off on the total campaign, but also you have, in the best situation, splitted responsibilities for parts of the campaign, because you cannot understand maybe the total impact of the data or the servers or the email content. So
it's too complex for one person, I think.
Make it splitted by one coordinator. That's my opinion. Hessel?
Yeah, I think so too. My words exactly. I think nowadays our campaigns, I think for all people here in this room, are getting so complex that yeah, you have to have knowledge of all these processes, data, visuals, rules, ruling, etc., etc. So it's very difficult for one person to say, yeah, this is all okay. I think there are several people who have to say, yeah, it's okay for my part.
Yeah, maybe even not too big for one person, but maybe even too big for one team. Because what we had with the lottery, we thought we informed our IT department, and they said it was fine.
They think it's fine.
Yeah, they think. Yeah. But yeah, I think there was by that example, we sat down with a couple of teams to sit down and say, hey, if we have an email where we expect this much impact, we have to sit together and see what the impact will be and what we expect and how to go from there.
Yeah, and they have to understand your business and you have to understand their business. Yeah.
Yeah, or I thought you would check that. Is also a familiar one in that. Eva Snyder. We have a.
Thanks, Hessel. Hey. I'm Eva from Rakuten, Germany. I used to work at another company before for handmade goods, on a marketplace, Davanda it's called. And we made a newsletter about carnival or costumes for little children. And we put a guy in a handywear costume and a girl in a cooking costume. And that created like a big social media shitstorm. Like, do you have any experience with that, or message what you could think of, like being politically correct, especially like up to date on media, like if there has been like any kind of like bombing the day before, and not to put a bombing headline in your email, something like this?
Yeah, well, we had a funny one, I think 2 weeks ago. It was a newsletter and it was with different subjects, but one of them was driving accidents. And we put in, not deliberately, but we put in a female behind the wheel. We got a lot of reactions about that, that it was, well, a stereotype. But it was not a very big thing, but we did get reactions. And we were not aware that we put in a female there. It was just the image that was available. So
next time you use a gender-neutral person.
Or both.
Yeah, someone in like dark or anything, so you can't see anything. Yeah. So you have an answer for Eva as well?
Yeah, this is a very difficult one when you get harassment on social media of your postings. I don't have an example of our company, I think so, but this is, yeah, sometimes I work at a telco company, also a cable company, and we also send out content about explicit TV content. And that's also very tricky, but I've never had some shitload on social media about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think some companies use the social media monitoring tools on particular names or tags, so to manage this. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Hessel. Yeah, talking about explicit content. I'm Hans Groen from KPN. It's a telco in the Netherlands. So we're selling TV premium packages as well and adult content as well. And we're planning to do an email campaign on this adult premium content. And well, the higher management was very tense about it. Should we do that? And it's not fitting to the brand and stuff like that. Yeah. But we said, well, we're going to do it. It's a good idea and there's high value, so why not do it? And we do it just to a little segment of our customers. But then a few days before, a plane crashed, a Dutch plane crashed. And the evening before the email campaign was about to send out, the government decided that the next day would be a day of national mourning, how you call it. Yeah. But the marketer forgot to stop the campaign. So on this day, where everybody was in grief, the campaign on adult content was sent out. So that was really bad timing. And we got a lot of bad news about it. Yeah. Too bad.
Anyone else? Yeah, go on there.
Pierre.
Pierre again from Discover. Quick question, like how do you manage internal communication after screw up? Because external communication, fine, you send oops email, they normally work amazingly, agree. But internally, people, because we send emails, everybody sees when we make a mistake, while there are other departments that they make mistakes every day, nobody realizes, but because the emails, everybody sees. So how do you manage that, like the legal department that goes crazy, even though you know the customers won't bother that much because it's just an email, but they, whatever. So how do you manage that, if you have any experience with that?
Yeah, well, what we try to do is to proactively inform departments that something went wrong and not waiting for them to come to us. And what we see then is that it's not, well, we're panicking, but the departments around us are fine, that we inform them. So.
Yeah, but sometimes it can have some deep impact, and it's not so at the what you can see and what you hear instantly. But sometimes it can have you call it a long tail of shitload, which is yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, I could just come clean. That's it. Yeah. And what has the consequences? You don't always oversee. So. Tell everybody in the company which should know. Yeah.
One of the examples. Just a quick example of what I mean. Like, we sent an email to everyone. Eurosport. Everyone sent. Everyone received this email that was only meant for some customers in Germany. So we were saying that there's this game broadcasted tonight on the player Eurosport, but everybody in all markets received that. So legal went crazy because they thought, okay, people are going to sue us because someone in England will tune into the channel and they won't find it. So we need to do this, we need to involve our counselor. Like they wanted to do something when we just sent an email to everyone again saying, sorry, that was just meant for German customers, but you have plenty of content tonight to watch. So that's where the friction was, where I knew, for me, myself, at the department, we knew that this is not that big because people are used to receive emails that are wrong. Sometimes it happens. But some departments are so, you know, don't want to say the word, but like whatever, about the things that they kind of, so this kind of clash, that's where sometimes it's hard to manage, you know, the thing like, guys, we're just going to send an email saying sorry, and it's going to be it, but departments want you to go about, like, involve other people and whatever, so that's where we find complications.
Oh, Peter, we have also had this sometimes at our company. We're also a broadcast cable company. And when we put out the wrong offer and customers complain about it, we set open all channels for a free watch. So that's very expensive, but yeah, sometimes you have to.
Thank you guys so much for all of your brave sharing, and you guys as well. They're going to have a roundtable. Rick's going to be hosting a roundtable, so if you have more questions or you want to share your stories, please join that roundtable. Thank you.